Okay, so my name is Toby, and I'm actually only here just to introduce these wonderful men of ours and introduce these wonderful men of ours. Mine is running around in the background. I'm actually in the kitchen because I'm going to be cooking dinner, and Brad's actually down in the office going to be handling this call, which is very different than normal. Just give you a little bit of insight into how this relationship works, Brad and I, and he'll talk more about that as he's the one that normally cooks. So if you see smoke wafting through the background of the office call in a little bit, that's why. But my name is Toby, and Brad is my husband, and we are Blue Diamonds with doTERRA. I've met a lot of your spouses, potentially at the retreat that I hosted a couple of weeks ago with Melody and Kristen. And I know that Tyler has hosted calls like this before, and my husband Brad has hosted calls like this before with spouses. People who are not necessarily involved in the business yet, or maybe don't even desire to be involved with the business yet. And so we really wanted to just have the boys host this call. We call kind of a dude call, so that they can pull back the screen a little bit and you can see how we do create synergy in our doTERRA businesses together with our spouses. Each of us have a very different story about how we work with our spouse, or if we even work with our spouse. So I know the boys have a good plan to share that with all of you. And so without further ado, I'm going to let them kick it off because I've already seen their slides. They did this themselves. And I'm really excited for all of you to experience it as well.
All right, I'm Brad Giroux. Toby is my wife there. And, over the decade or so with doTERRA, I've got to meet so many different families and couples, and got to hear so many people's stories about where they came from and where their doTERRA businesses are at, and even their dreams in the future. So we're going to talk, Tyler and I are going to talk a little bit about our stories, and you might be able to see a little bit of your personal story, your history, or your future goals in some of ours here. So go ahead. So I used to own and operate 2 remote fishing lodges in Alaska. My wife was a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I had what I thought was the dream job. I'd leave my family for months, go out super remote, 2 airplanes just to get out to this island where the lodge was at, and spend my summers out there. And it was a pretty amazing opportunity, but we slowly got into the doTERRA business. And that started actually as us finding solutions with the essential oils, taking care of our children, in a safe way. I actually wasn't a believer in the product at first. I didn't know anything, and I watched them be applied to my children, and I watched them be super effective. And that was a mentally that was a huge change for me. Then my wife started the business by telling others, other mothers specifically, about the oils. And using these as tools in their home, as health tools in their home, and checks started coming in. And back then we'd get paper checks in the mail, and I'd get the mail and I'd come home and I'd say, "Hey, what is this check?" She would say, "I don't know how I earned that." But those checks, continue to grow, over time and achieve different goals in our life. But we did not know that our future life trajectory would change when my partnership in my businesses, imploded and went from, huge assets to debt. And, really the doTERRA business that we were building, part-time, but we were investing significant time into it. But building that over that time was, became a lifeline that we never knew that we would need, and actually has turned into an amazing, community of people that we have met all through Alaska, where we live, all through the country, and actually even continuing globally. And Tyler?
Thanks for sharing that, Brad. I love hearing everybody's different stories because there's usually some similarities, but there's also a lot of unique aspects of everyone's story. So we got the products in our home. I'm Tyler Tigas, wife to Kristen, and my wife wanted essential oils in our home because she had just learned about how toxic synthetic fragrances can be, but she wanted our home to smell good. And so that's literally why we bought essential oils. We didn't know about the medicinal benefits or anything like that. Eventually we learned and we started using them, and we were shocked so often at how well they worked. At the time, I was an accountant. My wife was a chiropractic assistant, kind of in a health coaching role at a high volume chiropractic office. And we started learning about this natural health lifestyle that we could address so many health concerns with natural solutions, including essential oils. But we were new to that. And as my wife was working at her job, she started getting asked about essential oils often. And she would do all the research and learn about the best oils, the best brand, all of those different things. She would answer those questions, but then those people would go and buy those products, at the health food store or wherever they could get them online. And finally, I was like, Kristen, I've looked at the compensation plan. I was an finance accountant guy. I was like, I've looked at the compensation plan. I think you could do really well with this. You should start selling these. And she was like very against it, actually. But she partnered with one of her friends who also had really good results with the product, and just started teaching a class a month. And that was how we got started. We became a little bit more intentional when our son was born, and my wife and I sat down. I think she was making about $12 an hour at the time. And I was like, if you get to the rank of like Premier Silver and we don't have to pay for childcare, we like Premier or Silver with doTERRA making, $500 to $1,000 a month, and we don't have to pay for childcare, it would be a wash for our family. But you would get to prioritize being with our children and still getting to do something that you love. So she made that happen very quickly with, at that point, just me verbally supporting her, not being really involved too much. But another light bulb moment where we fully committed was when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. And in working with the doctors, one of the doctors that I worked with, he said, at this point, we've healed your gut. We've gotten you. I've started taking Lifelong Vitality Pack. I started doing all these things to heal. And he said, okay, we've taken care of a lot of these things. From here on out, the biggest factor in you healing is actually going to be your ability to manage stress. And at the time, I didn't think I was stressed. But the more I reflected and realized, like, oh, it's not normal to stop work at 5 or 6 o'clock, go home, eat dinner, and then go back to work for another 2 or 3 hours at night at the office. I was constantly thinking about work, like internally, I was just going. My mind would never shut off. So that was what I needed to work on. And after praying, we just felt like doTERRA was going to be our family's full-time business, and that we were going to do this together. So at that point, we kind of dove in both feet together. I ended up healing from that autoimmune condition and all those things. But at the time when I was looking at the doTERRA business, I was an accountant for a family-owned real estate development company. And it was my job every month to record all the transactions, including the owner's distributions every month. It was a significant amount of money. I was like, man, this is residual income. In my mind, I was like, this is residual income. This is the goal, is to build something, to build a business, to build an asset, to be able to transfer this amount of money to your bank account automatically every month. But I was looking at doTERRA at the same time as I'm working this job. And I was like, I know this family. I love this family, still love this family. They worked 40 plus years, really hard, really hard, and took on a lot of risk and made a lot of sacrifices to get to that point. Still amazing. But I was looking at doTERRA and I was like, we could get to this point much, much quicker and with a lot less risk. And so I wanted to talk about that just for a minute. The typical, at least in the US, I know we have people from different countries on tonight, which is amazing. I love this global community. But what we typically hear in the US is go to school, get a good job, work for 40 or more hours a week for 40 plus years, and invest a portion of your paycheck every single month And for a lot of us, it's actually a very significant amount of money that you're supposed to put away or never touch. And you're supposed to do that every month for 40 years for a chance of retiring between age 65 and 70. So the prime of your life, when your kids are growing up, when you are starting to have grandkids, and you are, you're at the prime of your health as well, you're supposed to be letting somebody else determine your schedule and putting away money, a significant amount of money from your paycheck every month, for the chance of retiring and living that retirement lifestyle. But the reality is, research and data show that that plan actually only works for less than 10% of the people that ascribe to that philosophy, that ascribe to that plan. It doesn't work for most of them because that's a difficult task to accomplish, right? So that's what we're typically told. That's the typical advice. But then when we're looking at the doTERRA business plan, and I know Brad's going to talk a little bit more about residual income, or one of us is, I don't remember. We're going to cover residual income and what it actually means, but you get to determine your own schedule. There's minimal financial investment. There's not a lot of risk. You're just buying products, right? Maybe investing in some gas in the tank to teach classes, some business tools, but it's not a huge investment. And you actually get to earn income while you build this asset, while you build this business, as opposed to taking what you're earning and putting away to see maybe 40 years down the road. You are earning while you build the asset, and you get to build to the level that you desire. And you can build significant residual income depending on your goals, your commitment level, your time availability, your effectiveness. You can build significant residual income in as little as 1 to 3 years, or 5 years, or even up to 10 years. But it's compared to 40 plus years, it is, to me, this was a light bulb going off. It was a big aha moment for me, because what I thought what we had to do was this plan over here, the typical plan, but doTERRA showed us another way. And the goal, so what we've discussed, what Brad and I have discussed, is the goal of residual income is recurring revenue. We talk a lot about residual income, or maybe you hear residual income, that phrase, often. What that is recurring revenue, meaning you do work, and instead of just getting paid one time, you get paid multiple times from that work. Think of helping a brand new customer getting started in doTERRA, and helping them fall in love with the products, and helping them see the value that those products are offering their family, and introducing them to the loyalty program every single month, that our customers are empowered and they're ordering those products. doTERRA is cutting us a check for providing that education and support. So recurring revenue, residual income, true residual income also allows us to have time and geographic freedom, meaning we get to choose when we work, where we live. We get to choose our schedule, and that truly allows us to prioritize the things that we value the most. And number 3, residual income, there's a stability aspect to it, and there's a growth potential aspect to it. And we're going to talk more about that here in just a minute. But those are the 3 keys to residual income. And doTERRA is uniquely set up and positioned to address and to fulfill each of these 3 aspects of residual income.
All right, and yes, the product is the foundation of why our business has grown so well. But when Tyler's talking about that residual income, it really is built on the foundation of this company. doTERRA was started in 2008. The founders really started this company because they had seen what real pure potential essential oils could do, but they hadn't seen a consistent source, or consistent product with a transparent source. So they started doTERRA, and within 7 years, they grew to be $1 billion company, $1 billion in annual sales. doTERRA is a debt-free company, allowing them to invest and innovate multiple years into the future. This is a big deal. When I questioned doTERRA back when they were just probably a $500 million company, and I was like, well, how would they continue this growth? How will they continue this growth? Well, they have that freedom to be able to look into the future, and through all their farming partnerships and partnering in different hemispheres with farmers, and consistently producing products where there's multiple years in the pipeline, so that we know we have security in our product to keep growing like this. So doTERRA, I think right now is like $2.4 billion in annual sales, or around there. And doTERRA is the single essential oil company that's influencing the entire industry. There's multiple articles out there, industry articles, essential oil industry articles, where doTERRA is named as that primary influencer of growing this industry. I mean, even in the quality of products being produced, people want to sell to doTERRA, the farmers, and they pay the best. So we're bringing the whole industry up and growing it very quickly. And our teams, we have multiple different teams participating in this call, and we are all a part of this greater doTERRA family. That we're poised to see a very another significant growth and expansion in doTERRA. We have amazing new products coming out, and just globally things are happening. So we're really looking forward to this next $1 billion in revenue in just the U.S. market. Tyler and Kristen have been fortunate to qualify as a doTERRA U.S. Founder 2.0. That's the second billion of U.S. growth that they get to participate in additional bonus for. And like I said, we're going to continue that growth here and abroad. There we go, that way. All right, so timing, now is the best time. We as a country, I mean, as the world, we are in a time of need, and this is both, health and finances, and nobody's going to question that. Both health and finances are on the top of people's minds, and we're in a time that's seen the highest inflation rates in many years. But doTERRA sells a product that is needed, and addresses people's number one concern, which is health. And obviously, the last few years, things have been extremely health focused. But we don't sell a product that people can easily cut out of their budget. Some people may be a little more strategic in their purchasing, but this is a product that is very needed, and that we will have customers sell, that will be purchasing our product for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and that adds up to a massive amount of sales. So, and when we're looking at the timing, you've probably heard this before, where over 2 million women have left the workforce because of the pandemic. I mean, these are people looking for opportunities, not necessarily employment opportunities. They're looking for entrepreneurial opportunities, ways that they can make money from home. So there are people out there looking for us to come bring them to this business opportunity. Employment security is at a low. Pay is not growing. We know these things. Diversifying income is always a good idea. And like Tyler said, people have different goals. Some people want to diversify by bringing in an extra $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $10,000, that $10,000 a month residual income. But it is a good idea for anybody, whatever their goals are, to diversify. And talking about diversifying, doTERRA is a global opportunity. So we are working in multiple markets. I know Tyler is working in multiple markets around the world. We're just getting started up in India, and this is a global opportunity. About half of doTERRA's sales are outside of the United States, so we have a massive opportunity here within the U.S. and a huge, almost unlimited opportunity globally as well. All right, saturation. So this is one that I questioned very early in our business. When I went to my wife, I said something like, "Hey, our 10 hippie mom friends are all buying essential oils from us. I think the market's saturated." And now $2 billion company later, it continues to grow and continues to grow. So saturation is always a question on people's minds, but currently about 2% of households in the United States, if not talking globally, just the US, they have doTERRA oils, but it's like 15 or 17% of the US have heard of doTERRA. So the brand recognition is already there, 5, 6, 7 times greater than what we're already at within these households. So as we're doing this, Founders 2.0 to grow from the first billion in U.S. sales to the second billion, we're just looking to double from 2% to 4% of households, and that will add an additional $1 billion in annual sales to the U.S. market. So we're all participating together, all of our teams, capturing our portions of that next $1 billion in sales.
Sorry, muted. It really is an amazing opportunity. And like Brad said, Kristen and I have crossed that threshold of becoming US Founders 2.0. And we just got to be in a room of the other 20 some Founders 2.0 and in the US. And just the level of excitement and the level of opportunity and optimism in that room for where doTERRA is headed over the next year to 5 years to 10 years it's inspiring, it's energizing, it's really exciting. So we truly believe this is the best time to go all in with doTERRA, obviously depending on your goals. So this is really special. We get to hear from not just Brad and I, but we are going to hear from several different men on what it looks like for them to answer these 2 questions. But before we start doing that, I want to make this personal for you. And if you have a spouse, for you and your spouse. But doTERRA together can also mean, with your parents or with your children or with your crossline, with your team, with your doTERRA mentor. These are great conversations and great questions to be asking. And I hope that they draw you in to what can it look like for you to authentically build doTERRA as a team with your spouse or with your mentor or with your family. So as we are going into this portion, ask yourself, there's kind of 2 buckets. How can I free my spouse to use their strengths to build our doTERRA business? That's kind of the first bucket. Second bucket, how can I contribute my own strengths and skills to build our doTERRA business? So have that as a thought in your mind. And the men that are going to come on and share are very different and have very different strengths. And so you're going to hear a lot of different things. Just try to take notes of some of those things. But let it just be something that stirs ideas and thoughts and conversation. Okay. Toby's
awesome. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get it kicked off by introducing Melody and Tim. And Melody is here, but I'm just going to go ahead and introduce them because Tim is an amazing individual. When we were at the retreat, Melody and Kristen and I hosted in Utah, he is the type of guy who helps anytime there's technical website stuff. It says it on there, technical website stuff. Like anytime we were doing something and we were like, how do we handle this piece? We would hand the phone to him. And he was so amazing. He also went and picked up food for the whole retreat, but he's that type of, we all needed him, totally. He's the type of person that is a behind the scenes and doesn't enjoy doing calls like this. And so when Melody said, yeah, Tim doesn't want to do that, I said, that's perfect, because we want this whole call to really represent the wide variety of husbands that would likely be involved in being asked to support their spouse. And so here, just by way of a couple of bullet points, are he labels and he ships all the welcome packages. And if you follow Melody at Obsessed with Essentials, she ships out some really killer welcome packages. And so actually labeling that and shipping that out to their people is a very key piece of what they do to support their team. He works another job, but also has a really flexible work schedule. So he can be available to be with their kids if needed. And he also travels. He's the +1 for Melody on the doTERRA trips, which husbands like that really is such a bonus, because the doTERRA corporate, as Brad and Tyler can attest to, they love to spoil the spouses just as much as us ladies. And so you get the swag, you get to go on the trips, you get to have the fun adventures, go to the international locations, hang out on the beach just as much as we do. And then I think really what's most important is he listens and he encourages Melody in all things doTERRA. And we all need a sounding board. So literally, if you can just do none of the other stuff, but beyond support your spouse, being there to listen and encourage your spouse as they get started in this business or as they go through the ranks in this business is probably most key. So I'm going to pass it right back.
Oh, okay. We're actually going to stop sharing the screen because we want to see faces. There you all are. This is beautiful. Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Toby. Brad, you're actually next. And
Okay.
then
Yep.
we'll go through kind of several different men.
Okay. So I'm back. And so I'm going to share with, when we first got started with doTERRA, I said earlier, I had a seasonal business, summer business with the fishing lodges. So my schedule allowed for us to be able to do things in the winter. And so we talked about going on the road with the Diamond Club and traveling for about 2 months. So we went down to the States. I agreed to take that time to go down to the States, and we bought a camper, we bought a van, and we visited probably about 20 different states on that Diamond Club tour. And I had a very difficult task on this trip. My task was to drive the van, set up the camper, chop the wood, get the fire going, help the kids cook the hot dogs, do the s'mores, run them around the park till they're passed out in the camper. And it turned out, I had no idea what it was going to be when we left, and it turned out to an absolutely spectacular, amazing time with my family. My goal was to be able to do as much possible for when we were in a location and she knew she had an event, that she could spend all the time with the kids, not have to worry about any other parts until she had to leave for her event. And I took care of the kids the rest of the evening, and it was awesome. It was an amazing time. I've done a lot of other things and been involved in the business, but I'm going to move on forward to where, I would see her getting businesses getting bigger, and I would see her really bogging down and getting stressed out at the end of the month, last couple of days of the month, when she's trying to reconcile sales for rank and bonuses, and just she's stressed, the house is stressed. It's just not a fun time in the home. And I knew where this was going, but I just asked, I said, hey, how can I help you? How can I relieve some of this for you? And she said, doing the back office stuff, figuring out, the rank and our bonuses. And it took some time, but I learned how to do that. And with using my skills, being strategic, kind of analytical, I've learned to be able to look at those. So by the 20th of the month, I'm able to, help her project out what our bonuses opportunities would be, rank opportunities are going to be. So instead of her like 48 hours prior to the end of the month having to figure out where she's at and what she needs to do, and it's a race and it's stressful, we're more on like a 10-day plan to be able to work towards to get there. And for me, I enjoy it. It's like just sit on the computer and do that, and then kind of feed that to her of that picture of where we need to be. And then she gets to do her magic, which is, connect with people, educate, and make sales.
Awesome. Good stuff. Okay. Thanks, Brad. We're going to transition to Mike. Mike, if you wouldn't mind just telling us like those little brief introduction and then share how you use your strengths.
Am I on?
You're on.
Okay. Sorry, I don't do a lot of these Zoom chats. Yeah, I'm Mike Beatty. I'm a general contractor, carpenter, kind of a rough guy, I guess. But my wife has been into this for 3 years now, and we're into the health and wellness, and we love doTERRA, and she loves it with a passion, and we just want to. I want to contribute as much as I can to this business because it's our retirement plan. So all my 401ks and my PERS and my pension plans are doesn't look anything like the plan from doTERRA. So we're gonna put 100% into this business. And sorry, I'm kind of nervous. But how I support her is pretty much come home from I work full time, so I'll get home and scoop the kids up, and she'll get down to business. And she's already been pretty much running around with everything. But anything I can do to help out to take some of the workload off her, so she can put 100% of her genius into this business, because she really has something for this, a lot more than I do. I love the oils and all that, and I use the oils. And I mean, I got guys at my work call me Mr. Patchouli. So it's all we love the oils, and I love what they do, and we're all about it. And I feel 100% confident in this company. It's whatever I can do to help her out, cooking dinners, taking the kids out to the park and playing ball with them, filling roller bottles. If she wants me to do roller bottles for her, I'll do that. Put labels on, put the caps on because her fingers can't do it or something, or whatever I can do just to ease it off of her a little bit so she can concentrate more on the IG stuff. And I can, I'll go out to the gym and I'll recruit people myself. I have guys coming up to me going, dude, what's that smell on you? And I'm like, I don't even know you that well, man. You're already smelling me. And they're like, what is that? And so it starts a conversation with them, and I'll be like, hey, my wife does doTERRA. And then we end up doing that. And I'll say, hey, I'll bring you a sample. And what is your wife like? Or what are you guys into? And, we get some business that way, or we'll get some, people following my wife. I'll say, hey, follow my wife to some other Instagram entrepreneurs. And she's gotten a few calls, and I got people in the works right now that I've been talking to at the gym, young couples, and just saying, hey, if you want to go work at McDonald's, or you want to do something like this, or just kind of shooting the breeze with them. But if I could help out by bringing some customers in for her while I'm out, run into somebody at the grocery store, even a Starbucks bistro, or a barista bistro. I'm always constantly thinking about this business. So but yeah, anything I could do to help out. And it's pretty straightforward. We put 100 in, me and her, and my part is pretty much easy because she's doing the back office and all that. I don't know all of that yet. I would like to learn a lot more about it. And considering that this is our family business, and we want to, I want to be able to help her out more on that part of it. But we're learning. I'm learning more and more as we go by. But what was the other question here?
I think you nailed it.
I think you did great, Mike. Thank you so much.
We love doTERRA. That's all I know. And I could swear up and down about it. There's people that, you run into every day, and you could help them out with something. Or if they're saying, like I want to learn more about it. So it's like a learning process for me too.
Awesome. Well, maybe that'll have to be one of Tyler and Brad's next calls, is training how to integrate the husbands on the back office side.
There you go. Yeah, I'll be on it, man, for sure.
Thanks, Mike. Who do we have really next up, Tyler? Who's the next person?
Joel.
All right, Joel.
Go ahead.
Roll Joel.
All right. Hey, guys. I'm Joel Wood. I'm married to Ashley Wood. We live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We actually just moved here in January. We came from California, where we were born and raised. So this is a big shift for us. New place, new location, new opportunities. And it's been pretty awesome. We started doTERRA quite a number of years ago when I was without a job, and we were looking for an affordable option for healthcare, and we found that the oils worked so well for us, and we just naturally started sharing. And then we started to do full-time. Ashley picked up a vision, moved from part-time doing this to full-time, and really hit the ground running. And she is so gifted at this. Initially, I was like you, Brad. I wasn't so certain about the oils, wasn't so sure about what this was like or what the business was going to be for us. But the more that I saw it, the more I started to believe in it. And initially, I helped her out with little things, writing some things up, doing some graphics. But the more that the business grew, the more involved I became, the more excited I got to be part of it. So it grew from doing forms and graphics to mailing things out to sending out emails, handling a lot of the back office stuff, whatever I could do to free Ashley up to be what she could be best. And for her in the business, her best strengths are believing in people and helping people. So she has this winsome personality to get people to want this product and find ways to make it work for their family. But more than that, to believe in the business and the product. So she loves hard, and that love really gets people involved really well. So I want to free her up to do that, to spend time talking with people, face-to-face conversations, meeting with them, talking with them, doing voice memos, Zoom calls. So when I come home from work, I'll make sure I have the kids, I'll cook, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that she has the time to go and invest with others. Thankfully, most of our business is still on the West Coast, so it enables me to take all the evening responsibilities, and she still has hours left back home. So we love doTERRA. It has been a game changer for our family. The financial income that is provided is phenomenal and so incredible for our family. And we love doing this together. So one of the key things that we think is important in what we do, we try to attend all of the doTERRA events together, both Ashley and I. So we'll either take the kids with us and go, or we'll find someone to watch the kids, and we'll go to as many as we can together. Because if we're both united in that and we're excited about what's coming out, what we're learning, then we communicate that together. So we find that to be such a crucial aspect of the business. Yeah, most of the stuff we do together. We spend a lot of time praying together over trying to achieve founders, seeing how God wants to grow the business. So that helps us so much with being on the same page, united in the company. So we are so blessed by doTERRA, and anyone we come in contact with, we want to encourage them to join this company and do this with us.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Joel. Jonathan, you're up next. Go ahead and unmute. There you are.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rich. My wife is Emma, and we have a 10-month-old named Everly. We live in Waco, Texas, so where Kristen and Tyler live. And we have actually not been involved with doTERRA very long. So we actually just started we're at the very beginning of it. I think we started about we actually got products like 3 months ago, and then started the business very soon after and attended the retreat that Toby mentioned a minute ago. But I'm going to answer the questions in reverse, because ours looks a little bit different than we're one of the rare groups where I am actually the one that has taken on more of a role as, like, I guess you could say, quote unquote, the face of our business. I am a chiropractor. And so I have a lot of contacts every day with patients that need something that they can take home that I can't give them 24/7. And so Deep Blue has been an amazing product that I've been able to help people while they're not at the office with me. And so I'm going to talk about the second question first. So the way that I contribute my strengths are that my number one is futuristic on the strengths finder, and then somewhere up in the top is also achiever. And so whenever I saw this compensation plan on one of Kristen and Tyler's health and freedom calls, I was all over it. I mean, I just, I work a lot of hours and I would love to get to work with my wife. And so this is turning into something that we, like the rest of the guys have already shared, want to be our retirement plan. And we want it to be our full-time job someday where we can work together. And so those are the strengths that I contribute, is mainly that I have a vision and that I'm able to put things into action by going out and making sure that we're getting contacts and that we are getting people interested in using the products. And I also have a natural, I want to naturally help people. And that's also why I went to chiropractic school. And so it's just another tool that I've been able to add to that belt. So now I'm going to talk about how I have kind of freed her to use her strengths. So at the beginning of all this, she was starting to get a little bit overwhelmed because of how futuristic I am. It overwhelmed her a whole lot. She was like, you need to slow down. This is stressing me out. And so one night she just said, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me to do this. And I said, I don't want you to feel the pressure to do it. All I need you to do is support me. That's all I need, is I need your support, and we're going to run with this. And it was like, once I said that just flipped a switch and kind of took the pressure off of her, to where now she's actually been about 10 times more productive in it, because what she's done is she is focused in on her strengths, and that's that she is very strategic, and she's good at a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, like using Canva to create graphics for Instagram. And she's good at contacting people behind the scenes and making sure that all of the things that I'm doing stay on a list on Google Drive, and that we are making the contacts. Because sometimes I get to just want to go, that I need her to be behind the scenes, listing everything out so that we stay on track and do the things that we need to do. So it's actually me telling her that somehow freed her up to be able to use her strengths to do some of the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, she's been very supportive, and I try to support her in any way that I can. But like I said, we're at the beginning of it, so we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Love it, Jonathan. Thanks for sharing. Dirk, you're up next.
All right. Well, my name is Dirk Vanderzee. My wife is Marie Vanderzee. You guys might know her as Marie Cottom. We've got 2 daughters. We got 3 really, one's in heaven, but there's 2 daughters who live in Utah. My wife has been doing this for 13 years. So I think in 2009, she actually joined. And so she actually started with another husband, and it didn't work out. And anyway, 7 years I've been doing it with my wife. So my wife's a blue diamond when I married her. So some of the things that you guys are talking about, I didn't have to go through the silvers and the premiers and the elites. My wife was already a blue diamond. And so she does, like I say, she's a goer. I mean, she is futuristic, and like everybody says, she sees things and she wants to get things done. And so it's kind of like just chasing her sometimes. But the one thing that was funny is our first year of marriage, I'm like, when we got married, she was like traveling and I was staying at home because I worked as an industrial maintenance mechanic, for years and years. And she's like, I want you to quit your job. How much money do I need to make? I'm like, what am I going to do? And she, right off the bat, man, she opens up this closet and hands me this box. She said, this is our taxes. And I'm like, what? And so the first thing is like, I just get taxes thrown on me, expenses and things like that. So I'd say that's when I first started, that's basically, okay, I can start doing that, I can, anyway, and then we get an account. But anyway, now I use my strengths. I'm an executioner and stuff. I mean, I don't have futuristic and stuff in mind. So I just try and vision what my wife sees and just tries to help her get it done and stuff. And I'm grateful. And I think, well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's so many other things that we do and behind the scenes. When we do booths with her, I'm full time with her now. I retired 7 years ago and we just moved to Texas. I didn't tell you where I live. Sorry. I live in Crockett, Texas, 2 hours away from Tyler down there just a year ago, and from Utah. And so it's just a great business and a great opportunity. I mean, for all you upcomers and you ones that have already been in it for a long time, you already know what it's like. So just keep plugging away, because we're plugging away too. We've been in it, like I say, my wife's been in it 13 years and we're still, you know, pushing away, just trying to, it gets to a point where you make the money and then you're like, I can make a difference, and you just keep wanting to do it. You don't want to retire. So it's just gonna be like a lifelong thing. So that's about what I have to say. So I'll let Tyler finish.
That's a good quote, Dirk. It's not about the money. You don't want to retire. You just want to make a difference, right? You guys do that. I can attest to that fact. I'll round this out and then we can do some Q&A. So I already shared, I convinced my wife to do this business, not single-handedly. Our enroller also convinced Kristen to do this business. She was against it. I was like, you need to do this. And our enroller was like, you need to do this. And so between the two of us, we convinced her, and it worked out okay. I'm a strategic thinker. I think there's 9 strategic thinking strengths, and I have 8 of them in my top 10. So I'm like up here all the time. Sometimes it takes a while to come out of my mouth or to go onto paper. So that part we had to work through together. But everything in the back office, like running reports, like Brad shared, we call it rank mapping, or like mapping out our month in terms of how the volume is trending. I do that. All of the communication with corporate, like through the account managers or through the sales team, I usually do that. Tracking all of our stats and data every month. I was an accountant, so that comes very naturally to me. And I'm a big believer in whatever you track improves. So whatever the metrics are in your business that you want to improve, you should just start. It takes 10 minutes once a month. Just start tracking those, and you will gain insights from those. This has been a process. I didn't like jump in and do all of these all at once, but at this point right now, I do all of our monthly team calls. I at least plan them and schedule them out and think through the flow and who's going to be on and what are we going to talk about. I do trainings like this, and I also do a lot of the strategy or mentor calls with our partners in our team, our personal enrollments that are building with us. And I also like to call myself our family travel agent, because I feel like I always have at least 8 or 9 different Google Flights alerts set up for different events, different retreats or corporate events or things like that. That's just something I enjoy doing. So we have 2 little boys. We've been doing doTERRA as a business for about 6 years, I think. So that's where we're at. Anything to do with strategic planning or making spreadsheets or tracking trends or thinking through like our calendar for the next several months. That's what we're doing right now. We're deciding what are going to be the big rocks in our business between now and January. December seems like the natural end, right? But we always include January. Otherwise, we feel like December comes and then we have nothing planned for January. So we're planning that out right now. Yeah, I guess more recently, I have actually fallen in love with networking to find people that are looking for doTERRA as a business. My wife is more like the product, helping people with their health side. I just really gravitate more towards the business side and talking to people about the business. So I've been doing that a lot more recently. So that's kind of me. But I love that we got to do this. That was just 6 of us, right? 7 of us, I guess.
Yeah,
and you got
awesome.
to hear a lot of different things. And I think a lot of it just depends on the spouse and the husband, the wife. What are their strengths? What are they wanting to do? What is the involvement that's, or what's the level of involvement that each is wanting to give? So there's a million different combinations, and I think it's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Tyler. I am going to open the floor here for questions. So any of you who are on this call, whether it's your spouse that's doing the business or, they dragged you onto this call, and so you've been listening to this, If you have any questions, you can either raise your hand or you can type it into the chat, and we'll give you a few minutes to gather your thoughts, because I do want to offer some pointed questions to the guys if they're also here. And since Tyler, you're right here, you mentioned tracking, and you said if I could invite any of you to start with something small, I would say track. So I know you're talking a spreadsheet, but for people who maybe don't, I will tell you that Brad did not track anything on a spreadsheet for a long time, and I didn't either. Brad didn't join me in the business till I was a diamond on the business side and in the back office and such, but I know he would have loved to have exactly what you're talking about. So if you could tell them like 3 things to track right now, wherever at in the business, whether it's Jonathan or one of the higher ranked individuals, what would they look for to track in the back office? Would you say OV?
You limit it to 3?
Yes, 3, because I don't want to overwhelm anybody. And if they could just get started with 3, like if they're like, hey honey, he told me that I should track these 3 things for you monthly. Will you allow me to do that? Because I will say sometimes from us ladies' point of view, us letting go of the control of the business is sometimes a little bit of a hard piece. So I think if they could track 3 things. Okay. Paychecks,
Income,
new members,
and OV.
Okay.
That's what we do. Paychecks that's like a 6-in-1. So you get paid 5 or 6 times a month from doTERRA, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I said paychecks, because that's,
Yeah.
I cheated a little bit. So you get your weekly fast start check, and we track those every time doTERRA pays us. Actually, if we do some Q&A for a while, I'm going to find a template and I'll put the link to the template in here.
Oh, that'd be great. Awesome. Okay. So
You have to ask questions.
paychecks,
while I look for
OV, and new members. Brad, you're raising your hand. Do you have something? And
Yep.
and other guys that already contributed, if you want to tell us what you track as well, we'd love to hear from you too. This is Q&A kind of panel format right now.
I want to hear what Brad would track, because it's probably not the same 3 things.
Those things as well. But since Toby never looks at the back office, the one thing I'll look at is, because you get to see 3 months of purchases, and you'll see somebody that maybe I'll go and I'll do it by PV, so highest PV of each person ordering, and I'll go and look for people who have only been ordering 20 PV a month or even nothing. Then all of a sudden they order 200 PV. Well, to me that says this person has a health issue that they're trying to solve, and I'll pass that on to Toby and say, hey, you may want to follow up with this person and give them some advice. You know, if they haven't been in contact with you, but for some reason they just spent $200 and they only had been spending $20. So it's it's pretty easy thing to do, is to sort and find those people. We're not trying to sell them anything else. We're actually trying to help them utilize what they just purchased.
Okay. And so Bradley, you find that number by looking in
the detailed genealogy, and if you click on the PV for July, usually it's weird, you have to click on it twice to get it to sort from the highest, but PV is that's their personal purchases, and it'll have the bigger numbers, so you can kind of scroll down through the bigger numbers and see what people are recently purchasing versus what they had been.
Awesome. Thank you. Do any of the other guys have something that you track that would be helpful to this conversation? Maybe Dirk, because he's the executioner. I love that, Dirk, by the way. I'm pretty sure you meant executor as far as on the strengths.
I don't know all the strengths are common on them.
Oh, but executioner was perfect. That was
I know,
so
right?
great.
I cut them off. Execution.
Like maybe that's why Marie always has to find new business partners, because Dirk's over there executing them.
I'm executing them now. Basically, I'm kind of like Tyler. I try to track our paychecks and just the new enrollees. Because we try to put them in an email system so that I can keep in contact with them or email them. Because the way we do it, if we enroll people, we usually, like you say, we send out a welcome kit, and then then we'll we'll try and hook them up with continued ed or some classes that we're doing online and stuff. So, and then just kind of looking at who's ordering and who's not, and kind of keeping in contact with them as they're growing and kind of getting them on LRP and that. So yeah, those are the things.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. Apparently you have the best lotion, DIY lotion recipe as well.
Heck yeah, chapstick too, man.
So great.
Make your own chapstick.
Awesome. Okay, so Mike, I think, was the one that said he will go to the gym and he will offer up a sample to somebody and he puts it off on his wife. Like he starts the conversation, offers the sample to somebody. And so Mike, I thought maybe I could just ask you this question real quick about, ways that you do that you put, that you can start conversations and then just put it off on your wife. Like for a guy who's brand new, wanting to help support his spouse, or alternatively, because Jonathan and his wife are here in the opposite seats, your spouse, what are some good ways that you've done in the past? And I know Brad has done this a lot, especially when he was in the lodge business, is he would say, oh, my wife has something that you could use. So can some of you boys speak to how you do that? Basically give your wife referrals without having to essentially make the sale yourself.
So can you hear me now?
Yes. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, I want to go fishing with your husband. Sounds like a cool trip out there.
We want you guys to visit us.
No, I'll just, I could just start up a conversation. I'm a pretty much good people person, I guess. I can navigate a lot of different people. I could tell who's going to be into it and who wouldn't be. But especially at the gym, I mean, I'm trying to talk to like personal trainers now. Like I have some younger personal trainers that are into it. And I'm like, look, you guys, this is a good business to be into. There's a guy in there that's wanting to own his own gym and fitness wellness place. And I'm like, this would go hand in hand with something like that. Like it would only like make your business blossom even more. Like he would probably quit what he was doing and go into this probably 10 times, but just trying to start up conversations with them. And usually they could smell me a mile away. I don't know what it is. But I always get people complimenting me on, hey, what are you wearing? What is that? Or, some people don't like it and whatever, but the ones that I could talk to, or even like this young couple, I just started talking to, his girlfriend is a personal trainer and they're at the gym like every other day. And I'm like, you guys, they were talking about what they were going to be doing in the near future, or trying to make a retirement plan and this and that. And it's just getting harder and harder. And so I just start talking to them about the business, and I'll tell them, hey, this is my wife. Are you guys on Instagram? She has a magazine. She's doing a magazine, and she does, you can just follow her, and she does classes, and she can fill you in on the whole thing, and she'll school you on oils. And do you have any like elements that are bothering you, like, or like I go, we use oils for everything in our house. I mean, if we have a headache, she'll put peppermint on my head, or she'll do, I literally, in the office where I work, I got a bunch of guys that are sneezing all day. So I'm like, okay, I'll put some On Guard around my mustache or something. We just use, and I could tell people, like, I'm confident in it, and I could tell people about what I feel about it. And if they want to follow my wife, I would just say, hey, check out her Instagram, follow her, and then she'll get right with you. Cause I'm going to go home and go, hey babe, I just got this young couple that are into this and they want to learn more about it. And she'll be like, oh, bam, she'll be right on it. And so she'll click, follow back, and then she'll be able to talk about the business or whatnot.
That's perfect, Mike. So the ladies are actually asking, so what is it that you are wearing that's causing everybody to ask you?
I don't know. She washes my clothes with something like I think she uses a patchouli. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
But
funny.
I mean, I literally had this guy, he was like just jacked, big old dude. And I'm like, he came up to me, he's like sniffing me. I'm like doing a dumbbell set. And he's like, bro, what are you wearing, man? That's my wife uses that. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't smell it anymore. It doesn't, you know what I mean? And he's like, and I'm like, wait. And I think I had deep blue on me. And I'm
Okay.
like, deep blue? He's like, and no. And then I go, patchouli? He's like, yes, that's it. My wife's she's like a hippie and she loves patchouli or something. I don't know, but I use black spruce. I use a lot of the oils. I love black spruce. I'd make a beard oil with it. It kind of helps me calm my nerves a little bit sometimes, I think, sometimes. And then I use them all. I love them all.
He uses more oils than I do.
Yeah,
No joke.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay, thanks, Mike. So let's see. Let me look into the chat now. Those were the ones that I kind of wrote down. Okay, Candace says we need Ask Me for Samples gym shirts. That's hilarious. I think that's a fantastic idea. Oh, thank you, Tyler. Okay, so any of the spouses here who want to start helping with tracking on spreadsheets, hopefully that doesn't overwhelm anybody. Some of the numbers, this is really, he put a template there for you to tap. You can copy that to your own Google Drive. So you want to make your own copy and then you can start. And that is one thing that, what would you say, Tyler, takes a couple of minutes every month to look it up. You might have to ask your spouse where some of those numbers are at. Some of us are visual and really like to look at the graphic tree. And then like my husband mentioned, he looks at everything in detailed genealogy. And to me, it's all Greek to me. So
you don't need to go to detailed genealogy for any of that. The new team members is right on the team page, right at the front top. The OBE is also there. And then the paychecks, you can go to the team tab and then down to commission summary. And it'll show you your primary and secondary bonus.
Yep. And primary.
Yeah, primary is the monthly check, which is your rank bonus, your unilevel, and your power of 3. That's your primary. That comes once a month. And then the secondary, I don't know why they call it secondary, but that's your fast start weekly check.
Sweet. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I didn't see any other super pertinent questions at this point. So I think for the sake of time, we can wrap up the recording. And then if anybody wants to unmute and kind of jam with the boys,
I've got one more thing.
You got one more thing?
One more.
All right,
so,
all right.
No task is too small. If you're filling a roller bottle, putting a label on it, sending it out with your spouse, if you're watching the kids, no task is too small. Our goal is not to make a sale; it's to transform somebody's life. Like Dirk was saying, and that one roller bottle that you passed along and got sold to somebody or given to donated to somebody, and it turned them into a customer. 100 PV a month for 30 years, it's almost $40,000. That's one customer. It's massive. I mean, and so you're talking about finding customers and helping them fall in love with the product, that they will be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 customers. And stack those, one on top of another as we go forward. It really adds up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.